Good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining. I know you've got a very busy week because we had National Independence Day on Tuesday, so you're probably substituting classes, etc. So I appreciate the time that you're taking to find out about VTCT skills, what VTCT stands for, the revised version, and all that we can do for you and you can do for us. Okay, let's start. My name is Mariella Fogliani. I represent VTCT Skills exclusively in Greece and Cyprus. And we have been present in the Greek market as of June 2023 with B.E.S.A. B.E.S.A is our company. We're a dedicated and literally devoted team when it comes to education and assessments. It is a great honor that my team and I will be sponsoring TC at IATEFL this year. We're actually the silver sponsors. Trinity, which is the oldest ELT organization, surprise, surprise, in this field, is the gold sponsor. We are the silver sponsor, and Cambridge is the bronze. So if anyone is visiting Edinburgh, be sure to come and see us. We're going to be at the pre-conference on Monday and on Wednesday as well. So let's begin. Why is this not moving? Okay. Sorry about this. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. Now, VTCT Skills stands for Vocational Training Charitable Trust. And as an organization, it has been around for a very long time. Actually, before I was born in 1967. VTCT has been around since 1962. It stands for Vocational Training and Charitable Trust, and it's the 8th biggest educational organization in the UK. As a matter of fact, it has merged with quite a few existing awarding bodies, and this is a process that will continue in 2025. And not supposed to spill the beans, and I won't. You will be surprised because quite a few very reputable organizations will be working with VTCT, will be under the umbrella of VTCT Skills. Okay, so it's an organization that's trusted by everyone, employers, education institutions, public and private organizations, and above all, it has worldwide presence. It has an international footprint. So it's a leader in a sense in vocational and technical education. It offers services over in the 17 sectors, including accounting and finance, business, beauty, health, and social care, recruitment, logistics, early years, team leading and management, and ESOL. And education, of course, it has to do with education. All these fields have to do with education, as you can understand. So I'm not going to bother you with all the details, but you should take into consideration that it has over 3,000 training locations in the UK. It's present in over 160 countries worldwide. It offers 850 certifications, and it has 120 certified candidates in many fields every year across. Okay, these are the partners, okay? And you can see that it's, sorry? Okay, I'm sorry, am I doing something wrong here? Okay, now, okay, these are the partners you can see, okay. And when it comes to quality, of course, it's OFCL regulated, as I mentioned. It is accepted by ASEP. It has all 4 skills examined: listening, reading, writing, and speaking, and something which I did not change in the PowerPoint presentation because it was piloted and has been completed, and they will be available as of May as well. We cater for levels from A1 to C2, not B1 to C2, but A1 to C2, and of course it's CFR aligned. Okay, now this is a truthfully dyslexia-friendly exam, and we will explain later on. It has a 50% overall pass mark, okay, and I have to explain this. Now, there are two components, there are 4 skills examined, but 2 components to this test. So you are examined, a candidate, sorry, not you, a candidate is examined, is assessed in speaking, okay, and in one paper, which is listening, reading, and writing, okay. So you have to pass both your speaking and your listening, reading, and writing with an overall pass mark of 50% between the 2. So if someone has, let's say, scored lower in the speaking and higher in the listening, reading, and writing, it is averaged out and you get a pass mark. So it's a candidate-friendly format as well. Straightforward questions, as you will see. Positive marking, simplicity, no penalties for retakers, equal opportunities for all, and we will be offering academic seminars and webinars as part of preparation courses for teachers, in-school training for students where necessary. We're going to have, and we do have, free exams, past papers, and the revised exam format as of May 2025 will be available, of course, to all. Now, let's go straight to the papers. Okay. Now, as I said, we are assessing the 4 skills, and quite rightly so, because I'm not a fan, personally speaking, of the 2 skills that were tested by quite a few exam awarding bodies, whether it was reading and listening or writing and speaking. Okay, now, as you will see, we have speaking, listening, reading, and writing, and I will go straight to the speaking part. Okay, now the speaking is made up of 3 parts. It consists of 3 parts. First of all, I want you all to feel reassured that we work in a truly relaxed environment and with respect to each candidate. We don't want any candidate, whether he or she is a minor or an adult, to feel stressed, to have a panic attack, and we don't have an attitude that we are examiners and therefore we have to be stiff upper lip, etc., etc. We do not belong to that school. Elaine Roddick, who is head of assessment, has made it clear that we are there to assess in a friendly and relaxed mode. Okay, so the speech assessor in the first part, okay, which only lasts about approximately 2 minutes, will give open questions to the candidate, and he or she will ask 2-3 questions from the options below, or if it is necessary, we'll ask 4 questions. The actual exam is from 6 minutes onwards, okay? Most of my examiners actually ask all 5 questions. So, as you can see, this is very straightforward and very simple. Tell me about a person who has influenced your life. Explain why. How would you describe your personality? How important is fashion and appearance to you? What is your earliest childhood memory? How easy is it for you to relax? Very straightforward, okay? So that's the first part, okay? And you are awarded, 4 marks for this. Okay. Now, if we move on to part 2 of the exam, okay, we are talking about scenarios, and here we have 10 marks. We collect 10 marks from this part of the exam. So in this part of the exam, okay, we have 4 given scenarios. Now, you have the titles of the scenarios here. You have the scenarios, you can see, okay? And the good thing about this is that schools have access to the scenarios, not the questions, okay? We are allowed to send out the scenarios. Ioana, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
Indeed, yes.
Okay, thank you. So you can see here the titles. For example, advertising is a clever way of lying about products. That's scenario number one. Now, the school or the teacher, the private teacher, would actually have to prepare the student, okay, on all these scenarios. And I'm sure that any course book in the ELT trade more or less covers these topics, okay? They're fairly straightforward. Now, these are the questions, okay, that the assessor asks. For example, it can be, what do you think about the reliability of content in advertising? Or to what extent do you think that advertising influences consumer behavior? Or how necessary is advertising for our daily lives? Do you think that any regulations should be applied to advertising? So there's a conversation flowing for approximately 2 to 3 minutes. From our experience over the past 2 years, because we will be 2 years old in Greece in June 2025, most candidates spend about 4 minutes on part 2, okay? So it gives them a chance to elaborate and to display their knowledge of the language in a fairly friendly manner. Okay, so you can see scenario 2. Everybody's intelligent in one way or another. You have questions like, can you please give me the definition of intelligence? Or to what extent is intelligence measured, and so on. Scenario 3, art is not what you see, but what you make others. Ioana can see your face, but you can make others see. Is that what it says on the paper? Sorry about this. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yes. It says art is not what you see, but what you make others see.
Indeed.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. So again, you have the questions. The examiner asks questions like, what is the purpose of art? To what degree can graffiti be considered as art? What is the value of art in school, or is a school subject? And is art an important part for society? An important thing for society. Now, I should mention at this point that the actual assessment is recorded. Okay, so we have candidates that are recorded. We grade the recording and the assessor, that is, and it is sent to the UK, and the UK grades as well. Okay, so we don't do something out of our own hats. Okay, now for scenario number 4, you can see the title here. It is health that is our wealth, not how much money we have, and we carry on a conversation. Okay, now this has to do with part 2, as I said. After part 2, we go on to the last part, which is part 3, and it has to do with images. And 10 marks are given here, okay, for the candidate. And I'm going to show you the pictures first, okay? So you can see image 1, image 2, image 3, and image 4, okay? Now, take a good look at the pictures, okay? The candidates have access to the pictures as well, not the questions that the assessor will ask. Okay. Now, you have questions. I'm going to go to image 2. Okay, why do some people, here is image 2 again, you can see people in a marathon perhaps, or in a running competition, okay? Now, why do some people choose to take part in competitive sport? One question. What is the value of competitive sports in society? What is your opinion of professional athlete salaries? What lessons can be learned from losing sometimes? So after this part is completed, the assessor, of course, thanks the candidates and stops the recording, and the candidate moves on. Okay. Okay, thank you. My surprise has just entered. Okay, the room. Okay, now I'm going to go on to the next part of the exam. Okay, and here we're going to actually talk about the listening part. I'm sorry, my mistake. I didn't add over here the instructions. In the first part of the listening assessment, which is awarded 7 marks, okay, the candidate is actually obliged to listen to short dialogues or conversations and answers the questions that he is given. Very straightforward, very simple, and the listening in all parts is heard twice. So, and if there's any disruption of any kind, for example, you might have, I don't know, workers outside of school or some kind of disruption, it is play on again. So we have the question and multiple choice, okay, as you can see, A, B, C, the answers. The candidate answers the questions. He can circle on the booklet, or he can directly fill in the circle in the answer sheet. Okay, extremely straightforward. So this is part 1 of the listening, okay? We move on to part 2, where he is awarded, or she, 7 marks. And candidates here listen to an interview, okay? And then they select the correct answers for questions 18 to 14, again, by choosing ABC. And it is heard twice as well. We check that sound is excellent. We always have, I'm sorry if you don't see me, okay, we always have an extra speaker with us in case the venue that we have rented out does not have reliable equipment, but we double check the night before, and we also have an extra set of speakers always, okay? So feel reassured about that, because in my 34 years of experience, I have witnessed, experienced, and lived through some pretty disastrous listening instances. Okay, so this is part 2 of the listening, okay? As you can see, extremely straightforward. And we're going to move on to part 3. Now, in part 3, we listen to a broadcast and then select the correct answers to questions, 15 to 24, again, by multiple choice, and the broadcast is heard twice, okay? Simple, straightforward procedure, and there is no writing, no spelling activity here. It's surely the understanding of the transcript that the candidates have to prove. Okay, this now has to do with listening. This is the first part of the LRW part of the exam, the listening, reading, and writing. And I'm going to move on now to the reading. Now, just a second. Okay. Now, in reading, we have 24 marks in total, and the candidate has to read the text and answer questions. We had an exercise which tested punctuation, grammar, vocabulary, and so on, the use of English, but the people in the UK, head of standards and the academic team in the UK, with the approval of UCAS, of Ofqual, went on and made this change, and now everything of that kind is tested diligently in the writing part. So when it comes to reading, it's sheer understanding of the text. Okay, so if you know English, obviously you're going to understand the text and you will respond appropriately. Okay, so we have part 1. Okay, your questions here, straightforward. part 2, another 8 marks. Okay. And part 3, another 8 marks. That's a total of 24 marks. Okay. Right, now, the writing part, I think, personally speaking, because it's production of language along with the speaking part, I think are the most demanding parts of any language exam, because we are requested to provide proof that we know how to produce language, which is our ultimate goal, of course. Okay. Now, there are 2 parts to the writing. The first part has 4 options, okay, and the candidate chooses one option. And in the second part, there is a mandatory part where you actually have to write what you are given. So you choose in part 1 from A, B, C, and D, and it's more or less a more formal piece of writing, whereas in part 2, it's mostly informal. So as you can see, okay, in the examples here, we need to know how to write an article, a review, a proposal, blog, things that we teach in class, things that all publishing houses offer. It's fairly straightforward, and I'm sure that all students have plenty of practice when it comes to this throughout their years of preparation in order to sit any exam, not only VTCT. Okay, so this is the first part. Okay, and I'm going to go on to the second part. Obviously, this is for proficiency. The whole paper is for proficiency because you can see from the wording, it's from 250 words to 350 words in black pen only. We do not use pencil in this exam in any part, whether it is to fill in the gaps or to write the essays, okay? So if a student makes a mistake, he crosses it out, and we do not use white fluid to cover the mistakes as well. Okay, now in part 2, as you can see, this is a fairly, it's an informal piece of writing, and candidates are required to write an email. So they have to know how to write an email. We used to write letters back in the old days. Now people write emails, of course. So we have to make certain that our candidates can do this. Again, it's straightforward. You can see the instructions here. It states clearly that this is an informal response. It is appreciated if we write to and from, subject, whatever. But a lot of people start with dear so-and-so. Please remind them that when they write an email, they should be careful to include the typical format as well. It's to their benefit. Okay, now, as you can see here, the topic says you live in the countryside near a large lake, which attracts a lot of visitors. Rubbish is starting to build up, and you and some friends are organizing a clear up day, collecting the rubbish. Email a friend to encourage them to join you. So we guide the students, okay, into what we want, what we actually want this email to be included. For example, we need to know why the rubbish is becoming an issue for the community, why you have decided to get involved, what your group plans to do on the day is, and how it will benefit the local area. So these points are taken into consideration from the candidate, and they take their time and they write the essay. I didn't mention this before. I will go back to part 1. I beg your pardon. But this is also done in part 1, where we have the choice of the option, whether to review an article. You were given bullet points, which is very important. It makes the candidate's life much, much easier. Okay, so I have a surprise for you today. Agapi Denzaki is here, and she will analyze what we need to know when it comes to writing, what we should focus on, and how to help our students, especially those in greater need. Because as I mentioned before, we are not only dyslexia friendly, but we try to cater for students with special needs. And at some point we will be giving a webinar. It will be after the summer. We don't have the time right now to do, because we're working very, very hard to ensure that we will be a truly friendly awarding body when it comes to people with learning needs. Okay, Agapi, good morning from Athens. Is she in?
She is, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I'm here. Good morning from Crete. Good morning, everyone. Maria, before I take the floor, I think there was a person who raised a hand. Maybe there's a question for you.
Oh, I was going to leave. Yes, by all means.
Uh,
I can see the hand,
find-
actually.
I don't remember the name, but it popped up at some time.
I was going to leave all the questions to the end, but okay.
Okay, I don't see the raised hand right now.
Okay, all right. I see 50 people chatting, okay, which is pleasant. I hope that everyone is enjoying a cup of coffee and enjoying this, okay. I'm sure they will enjoy your presentation as well, okay. Would you like to begin? Okay, and we'll get to the questions after you finish.
Can you stop sharing, Maria, so that I can share mine?
Yeah, okay. Just a minute. Yes, okay, is that okay?
Thank you.
Have I stopped sharing? Is that okay? Yeah, okay, good. All right.
So.
And my microphone, I've got to mute my microphone just a second.
Yeah, I think you can see my presentation now. Can you? Is it okay? Can I have a nod?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. So, good morning, everyone. I'm here to talk to you about written production, the part of writing which is usually a headache for most of us. And I guess that most of the teachers would say that the writing part is the most difficult part that they have to work with and make their students adequate for the demands of a the writing part of exams or whatever for whatever purpose they are writing. Written production is, for most students, the most difficult part and the most difficult skill to develop. Usually, it is the last skill that we develop. This goes for everyone, even for our native language, our first language. We start listening and then we speak, and maybe we start reading and writing simultaneously in our lives. Usually, well, not in the second language now, things have changed and we only start with speaking and then we incorporate writing. But even when we start simultaneously, written expression, written production is the most, it's the slowest skill to develop, and it takes a lot of demand. It takes a lot of prerequisites because it's not really a skill. Writing is not one skill. It's a cluster of skills. You have to develop lots to have developed your language in many areas, language areas before you can write. And the thing is that it's not only the most difficult, it's also the most important. Think of real life. How can we function in our daily lives without writing? We can't function in our daily lives, and we cannot have any transaction with people around us or with the state, with services, with whatever, you name it, without writing. Of course, speaking comes first, but this is for everyday life, for our immediate everyday use, simple use, very human needs. Okay, it covers that, but to have a fulfilled life, to have a full blooming life, you need to be able to write. Okay, so it's this mission, let's say, is very complex, very complex. And we demand this from little children, sometimes as young as 12 or 13 or 14, we demand of them to be able to put their ideas on paper and communicate them and be able to get their message across in certain ways on top of everything. So it requires a lot of knowledge and a lot of effort to achieve that, especially on the part of young children. Because we have to coordinate. First of all, the simple skill, the basic skill, handwriting, typing, spelling, depending on what you're using, but also sentence construction for a composition to take place. And this is before I have the ideas, before I move to the content and the message that I want to transmit. So to have an adequate piece of writing, I need to have mastered strategies such as planning, evaluating at every step, whatever I am doing, control my behavior and basically my behavior. We're going to talk about it in detail later. Revising, genre selection, not an easy task for little children. Language choice, linguistic and semantic knowledge. Okay, otherwise we don't have a meaningful message. And we also need, especially in the case of children, motivations. We need some expectations. Why are we writing? When you say to children, okay, now let's move to writing, you may hear, oh my God, because they don't really know why they are writing. So it has to be explicit to them. You have to explain to them what writing is for. And if they can't even grasp what this means for their life later, they can grasp at least the benefits they are going to have in their language development, how language, their use of the foreign language will become much, much better. Now, there are demands in at every level, and of course, these vary between educational levels. As we move on, the demands get, more and more. In early grades, okay, at the beginning levels, we have to master letter formation, basic spelling knowledge, and composing very simple paragraphs, usually descriptive or narrative. But later, it involves more complex tasks. For instance, argument presentation, a discursive text, evidence-based production. Okay, you know all about it. And if we are talking about exams and at the levels of B2 and C2, these are, sine qua non. We need to have taught them, and the students need to have mastered them. Now, what's the problem, additional problem, because writing is a problem for most of our students, as we said, but there is also a percentage of the student population that comes up to 12 or 15% sometimes, with significant difficulties in mastering written language. You know that in the newest, the latest revision of DSM-5, the DSM, which has become DSM-5, there have been some changes, and there is one specific learning difficulty with some emphasis. Sometimes the difficulty is more apparent, more prominent in reading. Sometimes it is more apparent in writing, and sometimes it's more apparent in mathematics, in numeracy. So there may be an independent specific learning in writing. Maybe a child has no problem with reading, but they have difficulty in writing. Of course, when there is a dyslexia problem, we have difficulties throughout, okay? Reading, writing, spelling, etc., etc. It's more complex, okay? But we need to do things for those children, and I'm going to talk to you today about certain facts that we need to know in order to start to deal with these difficulties with these children. And first of all, we have to be aware of executive functions. Okay, functions, the executive functions are the functions that we need in simplistic terms. We need in order to do things, in order to perform actions, in order to achieve a goal, which means behavior. It's behavior on our part. So it's cognitive processes which should be automatic at some level, so as to be able to control my behavior, to select my actions, to select stimuli, and monitor the process of my action, whatever it is that I am doing, so as to achieve a goal that I have set. How easy is that for children with special needs? With specific learning difficulties, let's focus on that. It's behavior control is a huge difficulty per se, and we'll see what that means. We have low order executive functions and high order executive functions. The low order executive functions have to do with, first of all, perception, that I get the stimuli. Okay, I see, I hear, or I read. I can read the rubrics. I see what is in front of me. And then attention, which means I pay attention to that. I know what it is about. I care what it says. Okay, I'm not, wandering, mind wandering, but I care. So I focus on what is written, and I can control my impulse to do something else, to look elsewhere, to, go and get orange juice, to fight distractions in a way. Now, working memory in general is one of our executive functions. Memory is, okay, you know how important it is. I don't have to emphasize this. There are many kinds of memory, but working memory, again, in simplistic functions, let's say that it's a combination of all kinds of memories at the time when I need them. When do I need my memory? When I have a task to perform, I have to remember things that are stored in my long-term memory, that I know and I've known for ages, for years, for all my life. I need to have short-term memory, which means the new stimulus that I have in front of my eyes, that is given to me, such as the rubrics. And combine these two and work to some kind of goal, some aim that I have set. Okay. Cognitive flexibility also is when you can move from one thing to another, and when you move from one concept, let's say, to another concept, when you have to combine these concepts. These are basic things. And even those, I think, are difficult, are not that easy for children with specific needs to master and to control. Now, higher order skills is examples of that is organization and problem solving. This takes some cognitive skills that some people never get to the point of mastering them. That's a fact, okay? Some people cannot organize, some people cannot solve problems of various kinds. Okay, there has to be something more serious in those cases, but organization and problem solving is a must, is a requisite in exams, even at the B1 or B2 levels. Okay, you have to organize your writing in certain ways, and you have to provide solutions to problems. When I mean, I don't just mean the, solution to solutions to problems kind of composition of essay, but a problem solving is to decipher complex rubrics, to see where everything goes. All my ideas, should fall into place, which means have the right structure, the right organization. So that's even from the age of 13, maybe, teachers and examiners may demand that children should have this kind of ability. Okay, so executive functions is absolutely necessary for any one of us to produce something in writing. And this is something that we have, as teachers, we have to take into account and work on them deliberately, okay, explicitly. And when we talk about children with specific needs, we may have some extra time given to them, or even if we are working privately, that would be no question, okay? Of course, you work with them individually, but even in a classroom, some students might need extra time to be able to master, to develop these executive functions. Now, let's clear, and I mean, we have that clear, I guess, but we have to make it clear to our students that when they write, they assume two roles. One is the role of the author, and the other is the role of the writer. The author, or the secretary, as we say, the author is the creative ego, let's say, the creative part. It's the one who generates ideas, who is able to plan, to form a plan with a goal, to set goals, to make improvements in what is produced at first, to decide upon the structure, the suitable, the appropriate structure, and checking at the end. The secretary just records the ideas. It's the writing part, okay? Records the ideas. At basic levels, of course, you have the letter formation. You have to be able to spell. You have to be able to know the right punctuation. And lexical stuff, grammar, syntax. This is knowledge that has to be automated to a large part. And this is the job of the secretary to do that. And then editing, whatever the author says when they decide improvements, check, review what has been written and decide upon improvements, the secretary has to edit it, to make those changes. Okay, so these two roles have certain importance at different stages, because whatever type of writing we give our students to perform, there are always 3 stages which must not be omitted. It's the before writing, the during, while writing, and after writing. Usually, even teachers forget about before writing and after writing. I don't mean the teaching of it, okay? I mean the planning of the student before writing, and I mean the reviewing, the revision of the text after writing, especially children with specific difficulties, they do not even know, it doesn't occur to them that there is a before writing stage and certainly not an after writing stage. They start writing whenever they see they are given instructions or read the instructions, they start writing automatically. And when they finish, they believe they have finished, that's it, they have finished, okay? And the result, of course, it's surreal most of the times because it's automatic writing, like in surreal poets, okay? So we have to get them to practice before they start writing and know what to do before that. And at that time, the role of the author is very important because it's the one who will generate the ideas, will start brainstorming, will put the ideas into place, into categories, organize them, decide on the genre, what am I asked to, what kind of passage am I asked to produce. So they decide on the genre, they have their personal style also, and they know that they have a complete idea of what they are about to write. So when they start writing, that's a secretary's work mostly. The author monitors if the secretary is doing the job well, okay, because the author decides that it has to be written in this way. We have this introduction, and the introduction should include this and this. The secretary writes it, and then we have the middle paragraphs, and then the conclusion, etc. Okay, and one thing that these children must learn is that when we put the last full stop, that's not the end of it. Then we have to review it. We have to go back after writing and check the whole thing and start editing. And there are certain questions, certain things that they must know to look for, to watch out for. Okay, so this revision is absolutely necessary. It is essential, and students with specific needs, specific difficulties, they will not do it unless you tell them to. And they will not do it by themselves unless they have practiced a lot on that. So before planning, we may have some protocol, let's say. There are certain questions that you decide to have the student ask themselves. You decide on the questions. They can be these questions or some other ones. Here it's, let's say, when they are at home or in the classroom. Did I clear my desk? Okay, because these students are easily distracted, but whatever stimulus is around. So the desk has to be clear without any toys or books or whatever, just their notebook and their pen and pencil. So do I have my pencils, my rubbers, my sharpeners? Do I have everything that I might need? The notebook. Have you seen notebooks? I'm sure you have seen notebooks belonging to children with specific difficulties. And you can see that there are blank pages here and there. There is one note here, and then the next note is a few pages later, etc., etc. So you make sure that you tidy your notebook. You have a neat notebook or sheet of paper, which is clean. No eating, okay, no drinking. It's clean, and I have nothing to take my attention to steal my attention, but this that I have in front of me. Now, if I need a computer, I write on a computer, or if I am allowed to use a computer for vocabulary, etc., is it handy? Is it on my side? or my dictionary, my books. I don't think anybody uses dictionaries anymore, but if you need books, if they write at the stage where they write with help and they have the outlines next to them in books, do they have them nearby? And then we move to the writing itself. So did I read the topic and instructions carefully, or did I start writing? Am I writing already? Okay. Do I understand that? So, and this is important now. Did they set a goal for improvement or what to focus on? This is when we, as teachers, we move to intervention rather than merely teaching. We intervene to take care, to cater for the deficits that these children might have. So you may have, a child may need lots of goals in this direction to improve this and that, to improve vocabulary, to improve grammar, to improve number of words, etc., etc. But we need one goal at least to have in mind before they start writing. And they have to know, my goal this time is to increase the number of words, because my compositions are usually too short. So I have to write at least 150 words or 300 words, etc. So I focus on that. And then you have these strategies and techniques that you use to advance vocabulary. So did I study the outline? First of all, do I have an outline ready-made for me? Or do I have to make an outline by myself? It depends on what stage I am at as a student, okay? So the first thing is that I should have an outline before I start writing. And then I have the ideas. As an author, I have the ideas. Okay, so before writing, all this planning has to take place. I would like you to remember this question: did I set a goal for improvement? Because this is what matters for children with specific difficulties. Now, while writing, did I read and reread what I had written? Okay, I wrote something. Did they go back and reread the introduction? Did I check that there is my opinion in there, that there is a topic sentence, etc., etc.? Did I keep in mind what I had written before? So when moving to the next paragraph, do I remember what I had written before? So I will not repeat it, or I will write something that follows what I have written before smoothly. Okay, first of all these questions are in the past tense because the child, after the before writing stage, or the while writing stage, or the after writing stage, has to check by themselves. At the beginning, you may need to do them for your children, for your students, but the goal is for them to be able to check this questionnaire. It's a checklist to say, yes, I did that, or I didn't do that. Okay, that's why it's in the past tense. And this is what we call metacognitive skills. It's not just cognitive. These protocols here, these checklists are there to help the child develop metacognitive skills too. So did they use a computer or dictionary as instructed? Did they keep thinking about what to write next? Did they use adjectives, adverbs, linking words? You have to be explicit with every one of them. Was I careful with my handwriting? Was I careful with margins and spacing, with spelling, with punctuation? Okay, these are the while writing stage, and there's a lot of secretaries work. Now, after writing, we need to review, to revise, and edit what we have written. So we ask, did I read the whole text again? Did they check whether I needed to erase something? I told you that you may form the questions that suit your child. You form them yourself. Did they check whether I needed to add an idea or to add a word? Did they check again for spelling mistakes, because they are always there to escape us? Did I check spelling on the computer or in the dictionary, again for punctuation? And am I sure that my text was neat? Okay, that's also important. Now, goal setting, this is the important thing that I told you at the beginning. You have to set goals together with your child. Involve your child in self-assessment, which starts with goal setting. You may do it as a whole program of intervention, and you have different sessions, and in each session you have one goal to achieve. This is important, that there is one goal at a time, not everything at once. Usually the child, when they improve in one area, they also improve in other areas. There's knowledge transference there, but you have to focus on one area each time, one goal. For instance, to divide paragraphs or fewer spelling mistakes if you start low. Okay, so the child has to focus on that while writing and after writing, or to enrich vocabulary, to write lengthily, legibly, to be careful with handwriting. Okay, to reread what I have written. This is something I told you that they forget constantly. So this could be the goal of one session, to reread, not just at the end, after the last sentence, but after each paragraph or after each sentence, because they might have missed words, they might have missed linking words, they must have mixed the ideas there. So if you have this as a goal and you force, let's say, the child to focus on that, this is what they pay attention to. And you have more probabilities to achieve the goal. So now the goals can be at various levels. At the textual level, we have the increased text size, important, very important. You can do it, of course, in many ways. We are not here for this today, okay? But let's say that pictures help. Pictures help. If you write to a description or something, pictures can be very helpful in giving details and making the child think and generate ideas. Increased number of words or number of sentences, maybe paragraphs, more ideas and information. You have to apply some techniques so as to generate more ideas. You remember this brainstorming techniques. Coherence. Does it align to the topic that I was given? Is it according to the rubrics and what I'm writing? Okay. Complex syntax, if we need this at higher levels. Cohesion, one idea linked with the other logically. Increased use of subordinate clauses, for instance, at a higher level, we do need that. In C2, you have to have more complex periods with main clauses and subordinate clauses. Consistent paragraph structure, okay, and consistent text structure. One follows the other logically, and one idea follows the other logically. Now, cognitive skills. Cognitive, okay, that's easy. It's easy, much easier to teach. Careful reading of the topic. You practice that. Appropriate development of ideas. If I have an idea, let's say a solution to a problem, do I have the right development? Do I say why this is a good solution? Do I give an example, etc.? To create an outline or read it in a template at the beginning, but also they have to get to the point where they create an outline themselves. And this takes practice. Time management is also a thing here, because exams have allowed certain time limits. Okay. Concentrate on an attention. Okay. Some people have more problem than others with this concentration and attention. Again, there are other things you can do here. Recall of information, long-term memory, which is knowledge that I already have, but in order to recall it, to retrieve this knowledge, I need my working memory to function well, which means to be able to control my behavior, control distractions, keep my mind on the topic of focus, etc. And to organize information. Now, metacognitive is when I have done all this cognitive work and I think about the cognitive work that I have done. That's the metacognitive part. For instance, reading the text regularly is a metacognitive idea, skill. You have to remember and do it purposefully to know why you are reading it and act accordingly. Editing, for instance, or correcting mistakes or adding words, etc. Every paragraph upon completion, because this will link you to the next paragraph. And of course, the whole text upon completion, where I check for mistake, I cross-check with the outline, because I may have forgotten what the outline was about when I start reading. I mustn't forget that. Using materials to enrich information, such as examples, okay, to correct mistakes. You may have some techniques here. The computer is one of the media that can help you correct your mistakes. Management of emotions like frustration, like tiredness. Examination of goals attained. Did I achieve the goals that I had set from the beginning, that I should have set because of the rubrics, etc. And self-assessment. How satisfied am I with what I have produced? Okay, this takes some practice too. It takes critical thinking. It takes a good knowledge of criteria, which we need to make our students aware of. Okay, and finally, every time the child achieves an objective, you give them an award. Okay, you reward them, because students need rewards, especially in writing, because they really don't know why they are writing, what they are writing for, etc. And until they get to the point where the mere production of a text, of the mere achievement of a goal is a reward itself, per se, we might need some external incentives. And an award like this should do the job. Okay, now this award and the protocols that I showed you are a property of Dr. Elias Vasiliou. Those of you who will be at the forum, ELT News Forum in Athens, will have the chance to listen to him. He has created this Educanal Play Box, which is a board game for the development of writing. I was the translator of it, the English version. And there's certain ways that you can apply all those principles in playful ways. But anyway, what I have said is something that applies to everyone and especially students with specific difficulties, but as it's actually, there are things that we should know. They apply to all our students, depending on their level and their abilities. So I think that was about it. Maria, if you have any questions.
Okay, if you have any questions, you can have them now, or you can hold on. All right, because I would like to add a few more things, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions here?
Anyway, thank you for attending me.
Okay, thank you. All right, Joanna, I'm doing something wrong here. Sorry. I apologize. Okay, I'd like to add a few things which were not mentioned, okay, at the beginning of the webinar. First of all, we have 9 exams 9 times a year, okay? Now, we have exams 9 times a year, but this doesn't mean that schools with minor students, I mean, students under 18, 17, 16, etc., can register 9 times a year. As of September, okay, they will register strictly during the December examination session. I prefer January, to be quite frank, and the May and June examination session, because I do not wish to cause any disruption, okay, when it comes to teaching and schools and schedules and programs. That's one thing. So take into consideration that you have 9 times a year exam sessions. You can have your students enroll in the December or January exam session, or the May and June exam session. I would prefer the January and June exam session. You will have details in your emails in the coming months. That's one thing. The second thing is that you can have adult students throughout the year, okay? As of the new academic year, we do have online exams with England, but they haven't been activated yet. This will take effect as of the new academic year. Another thing that we have is a free retake for students that fail the exam, and we will be actually holding a special exam session in the beginning of autumn for students who have failed exams and who wish to resit an exam, okay? Now, one more thing, the format of the exam is the same for B1, B2, and C2, C1 and C2. So there's no need, to change your preparation, etc. You follow the same format from B1 all the way to C2. That's all for that. Now, one more thing, a few more things actually. We have started out with providing the diploma in education and training, the VTCT level diploma in education and training in Greece as of 2024. And because there will be a few changes, and the legislation will change in the UK, we are, Agapi, I don't know if you'd like to follow up on that. We're offering the diploma in education and training in this format, okay, till the first weeks of April. So those of you who would like to register for the Diploma in Education and Training can do so, because after that there will be a change, and we're still expecting specifications and so on from England, because the legislation in the UK is changing, okay?
Yeah, but those who are doing the diploma now, who are doing the course now, and those who can register until up to the beginning of April, let's say, will enjoy full privileges of the diploma, which means it's like a teaching work permit, and you can apply for schools in England and elsewhere in many other countries. There are open doors for this kind of diploma, and you become member of the Society for Education and Training. Of course, it's off-quote validated, but unfortunately, we cannot promise the same thing if you register after April, after the beginning of April.
Yes, because legislation is changing in the UK, because the UK will be hiring a lot of teachers after 2027, for your information, folks, because a lot of the teachers are getting their pension. So they will be recruiting, and it's very, it would be wise if you could get yourself accredited, because you never know, this is a qualification that is highly esteemed all over the world. And in Greece at the moment, we're trying to get through to the Ministry of Education, so this can be acknowledged as an additional qualification. It's literally, I'm going to say this in Greek, η παιδαγωγική επάρκεια. It has to do with education. It's not a CELTA, it's not a DELTA. It has to do with being a good educator and trainer. So we're offering this, plus, just a second, we've introduced the VTCT Skills Level 3 Award in Education and Training. This is something simpler to the Level 5 Diploma in Education and Training. It will run as of the new academic year, along with, just a second.
Maria, just a minute. They all give you credits, okay?
Yes.
The level 5 gives you 120 credits, and the level 3 one gives you 12 credits. Now, this one is something different. Shall I go on? Okay.
Yes, go on.
Because this is a diploma, level 3 diploma, which means level 3 means that you don't have to be a teacher, you don't have to have education beyond that, beyond high school, but you have you train and you develop the skills to become a specialist assistant teacher. It's let's say like our parallel, but not like that. Okay, it's the prerequisites are different. You become a specialist as an assistant teacher. You're in the classroom to help the teacher, especially with the children with special needs. Okay, not just that, but in general. Okay, but you are considered qualified for this job. Okay, you are not a teacher because it's level 3, but you are an assistant teacher, and this is something that many schools abroad, not just in the United Kingdom, but many schools abroad hire. Okay, they do have classrooms with a main teacher and an assistant teacher. They think that a necessity, unlike Greece.
Okay. Right. If you have now, I know this has been a very heavy webinar because you have a lot of information to process. But before I go on, two things. We have 55 participants who have stayed all the way to the end of this webinar. So regarding the language schools or teachers who have an or who have who are legal and have δελτίο παροχής υπηρεσιών, because there's no other way around it for what I'm about to offer. These people who have attended this webinar all the way to the end will receive 3 entries plus 1 as a bonus. So you pay for 3 entries, whether it's B2, C1, C2, and you get 1 entry for free. Okay? Now, those of you who are teachers, who are private teachers or are working in the public sector, or I don't know what, does anyone have their birthday today? Is it anyone's birthday today? This is a very important question because I'm about to offer something very, very big, which is bigger than the previous ones, and it's the love of my life. Anybody's birthday? Does anybody have a birthday in March? Please say yes.
Okay.
Who's Αγγελική Σπυροπούλου?
Mr. Χρήστος Παπάς.
And who else?
Δώρα Βραμμοπούλου. Νεζρίν. Αγγελική Σπυροπούλου. Δέσποινα Στρατογιάννη.
Okay.
Many of them, actually.
Quite a few. Is there anyone who has their birthday between the 24th and 27th of
Mm.
24th and 27th? Anyone?
Let them write the birthdays on their dates on the
chat
box, and we'll decide which one
Actually,
closes.
there are people who have their birthdays on the 30th, on the 16th, on the 29th, and on the 22nd.
So closest to today is the 29th, I think.
Yes.
Who has their birthday on the 29th? The name, please.
Mrs.
Is it-
Δέσποινα
is-
Στρατογιάννη.
Did you also say 26th, Ioana?
No, 30th, 16th, and 22nd.
Okay, so I think the 29th is the right decision. Huh? I don't know. Do you agree?
Probably.
Maria?
Who said 20th November too late? Okay, we'll do something special for you, especially too. Okay, now this person on the 29th, Αγγελική Σπυροπούλου, okay, you've just won yourself the Diploma in Education and Training course, okay? The tuition fees and the course, which will start sometime in April or right after April. Agapi will decide on that, okay? For the second
Δέσποινα
group.
Στρατογιάννη.
Δέσποινα Στρατογιάννη.
Γιάννη.
Okay, so Despina Sadoyani has won that. Please make a note of that and please send us our details, please. Your details, excuse me. And the rest of the school owners, etc., have the opportunity to join our May exams with a 3+1 mode, okay? School owners or teachers that work in schools, etc., okay? I repeat, you have to be for legal reasons and for tax office reasons, you have to have legality when it comes to that, okay? The 3+1 bonus. That's why I offered the other one as well, okay? Is Miss Spiropoulou, what is she? Is she a teacher, a school owner? What is she? The person who won? Despina, are you a teacher, a school owner? Private teacher, okay. Well, this is I think one of the best opportunities you will have in life because the Diploma in Education and Training is a door opener. And the reason why VTCT is a good awarding body to choose is because it literally cares literally cares about everyone involved in the education process, both the teacher and the learner. And this, for me, is one of the reasons why schools should give us a chance, try us out, work with us, because all you have to do is literally gain. And we will be there in all the major exhibitions. We will be on Sunday in Athens at the EFL Forum. We will be at the IP exhibition. We will be at IATEFL, okay? And we will also be in the Panipyrotikon conference of PALSO in, when is it, 13th and 14th of April, I think, yes, okay. I mean, I'm flying from Edinburgh to Athens. I'm traveling directly to Yanina for that, okay? And Agapi will be there too. Agapi will be in Thessaloniki, and she will also be in Yanina. Stay tuned because we have surprises for the IP exhibition in September and for the EFL forum as well, okay? So, any questions? I left it for last. Ioannamo, any questions? Or are they too tired to ask questions?
Αγγελική Σπυροπούλου says, what about Αρχαία Ολυμπία?
Αρχαία Ολυμπία is a lovely place, and if we can visit it and offer a seminar there, we will be there. Are you referring to, I'm sorry? Okay, any other questions?
No question.
No questions? Okay.
No.
All right. I'd like to wish all of you a lovely day, a lovely spring, and I look forward to seeing you in person in Greece or in Edinburgh if people are traveling to Edinburgh as well. And do bear in mind that any other piece of information that you require, we're here to help you. Feel free to call us, write an email, or visit us in person, as I said. We'll be there to assist you, okay? Thank you again, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.